Hello friends, this is Aarti Karnuke, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patel College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, accredited with NAC A+ grade. I welcome you all in the next lecture of Pavement Analysis and Design. So basically in this lecture we are going to discuss about the materials and method. So first we will discuss about the test which is conducted on the pavement. So let's start. So very first method is group index method. So basically the group index method of flexible pavement design is an empirical method which is based on the physical properties of soil subgrade. So basically fine grained soil of each classification group exhibit a wide range of properties as subgrade material. In order to classify the fine grained soil within a one group and for a judging their suitability as subgrade material, an indexing system has been introduced in HRB classification which term as group index. So basically soils are thus assigned an arbitrary numerical number known as group index, that is GI, which is the function of percentage material passing through 0.0074 mm sieves, liquid limit and plastic limit of the soil, which is given in the equation. So we will see that equation. So basically we can find a group index value by two methods. First is the mathematically or another one is the graphically. So here it is. So GI is equal to 0.2 into A plus 0.005 into A into C plus 0.01 B into D. So basically here A is that proportion of So A is that portion of material passing 200 mesh sieve or 0.074 mm sieves greater than 35 and not exceeding 75%. It is expressed as a whole number from 0 to 40. So it is not greater than the 40. Where next is the B. So B is that portion of material passing 0.074 mm sieves greater than 15 and not exceeding 75%. So basically it is expressed as a whole number from 0 to 40, of course. So in this also in this case also not more than 40. So C is equal to that the value of liquid limit in excess of 40 and not less than 60. So it is expressed as the whole number as 0 to 20. Of course the value of the C which is in the range of 0 to 20, and the D is that value of plasticity index exceeding 10 or not more than 30, expressed as a whole number from 0 to 20. So according to this formula, the minimum possible value of group index is 0 and the maximum possible value is 20. So basically when the values of a soil fraction passing 0.074 mm sieves, liquid limit and plastic index are respectively higher than the 75, 60 and 30%. Higher the value of group index, poor is the soil as a subgrade material. So the subsoil groups, that is the A26 and A27, and the soil from A2 group have a GI values of 0 to 4. A4 group of soil have a GI values up to 8. A5 soil up to 12, A6 soil up to 16 and A7 soil up to 20. So basically the group index values indicate as a suffix to the soil group within brackets, such as A6 4 in the bracket or A6 in the bracket 16. So in this example, an A6 soil with the group index and value 4 is considered as a superior subgrade material than the A6 soil with the group index value 6. So as you can see, group index of soil subgrade, if the soil is good, then it is range from 0 to 1. If the soil is fair soil, then it is range from 2 to 4. If the soil is poor soil, then it is range from 5 to 9. And if the soil is very poor soil, then it is range from 10 to 20. So another parameter is the traffic volume. Of course, it is measure of the annual average daily traffic, peak hour traffic. So it is denoted by the commercial vehicles per day or a CVPD. So it is classified in the three categories based on the number of vehicles per day. If the number of vehicle per day is greater than 50, then it is the light traffic. If the traffic is the 50 to 300, then it is medium traffic, and it is greater than 300, then it is heavy traffic. So basically this is the flexible pavement design. So before going to design the pavement, we must know the structure of the flexible pavement. So this is the calculation part. So first is the total thickness, that is T. So basically from the above chart of the given group index of soil, subgrade and traffic volume value, select appropriate thick curve, the value of combined thickness of surface, base and subbase line, which will give the total thickness of the pavement. So the curve highlighted in the below diagram, as you can see. So this is the calculation part, that how we can calculate the thickness of base and subsurface cores. So as you can see, the thickness of subsurface and base cores is equal to total thickness minus subsurface thickness. So here are all the formulas are given. So as we know, this is the cross section of the flexible pavement. So basically the group index method is essentially an empirical method based on the physical properties of the subgrade soil, and it does not consider the strength characteristics of the soil, and therefore the open to the question regarding its reliability. So the next is California bearing ratio test. So basically the California bearing ratio test was developed by the California State Highway Department as a method for evaluating the strength of the subgrade soil and other pavement material for the design and construction of flexible pavement. The CBR test results have been correlated with the flexible pavement thickness requirement for highways and airfield. Being an empirical test method, CBR test result cannot be related accurately with any fundamental properties of the soil or a pavement material tested. The CBR method of the test has also been standardized by the Bureau of Indian Standard, that is BIS. So the CBR test denotes a measure of resistance to penetration of soil or a flexible pavement material of standard plunger under controlled test condition. So the CBR test may be conducted in the laboratory generally or a remolded specimen. The test may also conduct on the undisturbed soil specimen. The laboratory test procedure should be strictly adhered if high degree of reproducibility is desired. A procedure for the field determination of CBR value of the soil in place or in situ has been developed and standardized by the different agencies, including the Bureau of Indian Standard. So these are the relevant standard of the IS codes. So these are the apparatus. So if we are talking about the apparatus, the basic principle in the CBR test is by the causing a cylinder plunger of 50 mm diameter to penetrate into the specimen of soil or pavement component material at a rate of 1.25 mm per minute. The loads required for 2.5 mm and 5.0 mm penetration of the plunger into the soil material tested. So tested are recorded. the CBR value of the material tested is expressed as a percentage of the standard value in the standard material. The standard load values have been established based on a large number of tests on the standard crushed stone aggregate as a respective penetration level of 2.5 to 5 mm. These standard loads values given below may be directly be used to compute the CBR value of the test material. So, if the penetration is 2.5 mm, so for this standard load is 1370 kg and unit standard load is 70 kg per centimeter square. So like that we can say that. So for this apparatus required loading system, a machine capable to providing a constant rate of penetration of 1.2 mm per minute with the capacity of 50 kilonewton, that is 5 tons, is used for loading the plunger with the providing ring. If a standard loading system is not available, either a hydraulic or machine operated loading system with the proper calibration can be used. A plunger of 50 mm diameter with a providing ring attachment at the bottom of the loading frame is used for conducting the test. So another is mold. To conduct a CBR test, a specimen of compacted soil of 150 mm diameter and 127.3 mm height is prepared. The mold is attached with the collar of the about 50 mm length and a detachable perforated base. Then surcharge weights. So basically annular weights of 2.5 kg and 147 mm diameter are placed over the top of the soil specimen to simulate overlying paving weight in actual field condition. Suitable surcharge weight is used during the soaking and testing of the soil sample. So next is the soaking system. So the compacted soil specimen are soaked for 4 days under the surcharge weight. Soaking of specimen simulate the worst field condition that a subgrade soil can be specimen subjected to, similar to the monsoon or post monsoon condition. Then next is the miscellaneous. So basically it is the dial gauge, least count from 0.01 mm and balance least count is 10 G. Graduated jar, straight edge mixing pan, spatula, oven, sieves, size from 20 mm and 4.75 mm, and filter paper. So if we are talking about the procedure, so the remolded as well as undisturbed soil specimen are used for the CBR testing. Undisturbed soil specimen are obtained by pushing the CBR mold fitted with the steel cutting edge into the soil. The recommended size of the soil specimen may be obtained by trimming excess portion of the soil at the top and bottom of the mold. So in case of remolded soil sample, they should be suitably compacted using light or heavy compaction method. Tests are performed for both soaked and unsoaked specimen. The CBR value are compared. Then the test sample is first prepared. About 20 kg of air dried soil specimen which has passed through 20 mm size SI sieves is taken and compacted at OMC with an imparted energy of compaction according to the specimen to obtain maximum dry density. So after soil sample is prepared, the soil filled mold is kept in soaking bath for 4 days. Before testing, the specimen is drained for 15 minutes. So after placing the mold, compact the mixed soil in the mold using the either light compaction or heavy compaction. For light compaction, compact the soil is in 3 equal layers, each layer being given 55 blows by the 2.6 kg rammer. For heavy compaction, compacted soil in 5 layers, 56 blows to each layer by the 4.89 kg hammer. Then remove the collar and trim off the soil. Then turn the mold upside down and remove the base plate and the displacer disc. Then weight the mold with the compacted soil and determine the bulk density and dry density. Put the filter paper on the top of the compacted soil and clamp the perforated base plate on it. So the penetration plunger is placed in the contact with the top surface of the specimen by applying the setting load of the 4 kg. The dial gauge is firmly fitted in the position with the proving ring and set to 0 before applying the load on the plunger. The plunger is allowed to penetrate into the soil at the uniform rate of 1.25 mm per meter. The values of the load on the proving ring are noted at the plunger penetration values like 0, 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 0, 2.0, 2.5, 4.0, 5.0, 7.5, 10 and 12.5 mm. The maximum load and the corresponding penetration values are recorded if the plunger penetrates less than 12.5 mm. So dispatch the mold from the loading equipment, take out the 20 to 50 gram of soil from the top 3 layers and determine the moisture content. So to calculate the CBR value, the recorded load is expressed as a percentage of the standard load value. For the respective penetration value, the CBR values are calculated using the formula that is CBR is equal to test load divided by standard load into 100. So it is generally used to classify and evaluate the soil subgrade and base course material for the flexible pavement. This test is empirical and the result cannot be accurately related with the fundamental properties of the material. So this is the procedure as we already discussed in the previous slides. Now the in situ test. So basically it is the laboratory test. So laboratory test make use of a small size sample obtained from the boreholes through samplers, and therefore the reliability of these depend on the quality of the undisturbed sample. So further obtaining the undisturbed sample from non-cohesive granular soil, it's not easy if not possible. Therefore it is common practice to rely more on laboratory tests where the cohesive soils are concerned. So field test, in the test in which field have the advantage of testing soil in the natural undisturbed condition where the subsoil strata are essentially non-cohesive in character, the bias is mostly defined towards field test. So field test commonly used in subsurface investigation, penetration test, pressure meter test, wind shear test, plate load test and geophysical methods. So basically penetrometer test includes standard penetration test, static cone penetration test and dynamic cone penetration test. So let us discuss one by one. So first is the standard penetration test. So basically the standard penetration test is an in situ test that is coming under the category of penetrometer test. So the standard penetration tests are carried out in borehole. The test will be measured the resistance of the soil strata to the uh, penetration undergone. The penetration empirical correlation is derived between the soil properties and the penetration resistance. The test is extremely useful for the determining the relative density and the angle of shearing resistance of cohesive soil. It can also be used to determine the unconfined and compressive strength of the cohesive soil. So this is the standard penetration test setup. So basically the requirement of conduct SPT are standard spill spoon sample, then a drop hammer weight up to 63.5 kg, then guiding rod, then drilling rig and driving head, of course. So the test is conducted in the borehole by means of the standard split spoon sampler. Once the drilling is done to the desired depth, the drilling tools is removed and the sample is placed inside the borehole by means of a drop hammer of 63.5 kg mass filling through a height of 750 mm at the rate of 30 blows per minute. The sampler is driven into the soil. This is as per the IS code 2131. The number of blows of the hammer required a drive a depth of 150 mm is counted. Further, it is driven by the 150 mm and the blows are counted. Similarly, the sample is once again further driven by 150 mm and the number of blows recorded. The number of blows recorded for the first 150 mm not taken into the consideration. The number of blows recorded for last two 150 mm interval added to the standard penetration number. So in other words, n is equal to the number of blows required for the 150 mm penetration beyond the sitting drive of 150 mm. So if the number of blows of 150 mm drive exceed 50, it is taken as a refusal and the test is discontinued. The test penetration, standard penetration number is corrected by correction and overburden correction. So basically the SPT is carried out at every 0.75 vertical interval in the borehole. This can be increased 1.50 meter in the depth of the borewell. So the boring lock refusal and test is headed if the 50 blows are required for any 150 mm penetration, 100 blows are required for 300 mm penetration and 10 successive blows produce no advance. So the correction in the n values. So before SPT values are used in empirical correlation and design charts, the field n value have been correlated as per IS 2131-1981. The corrections are Delancey correction and overburden pressure correction. So correction for overburden. So basically overburden pressure correction from this Sewell investigation, it is proven that the penetration resistance or the value of N is depend on the overburden pressure. If there are two granular soil with the relative density same, higher N value will be shown by the soil with the higher confining pressure. With the increasing in the depth of the soil, the confining pressure also increases. So the value of N at shallow depth and larger depths are underestimate and overestimate respectively. Hence account this the value of N obtained from the test are corrected to the standard effective overburden pressure. The corrected value of N is NC is equal to C into N. So the corrected n values is given, n dash is equal to c dash in suffix n and n, where the correction factor for overburden pressure. So next is the dilatancy correction. So silty fine sand below the water table develop poor water pressure which is not easily dissipate. The pore holes pressure increase the resistance of the soil and hence the penetration number. Terzaghi and Peck recommended the following correction in the case of the silty fine sand when the observed value n exceed 15. The correction penetration number is n dash is equal to 15 plus 0.5 n minus 15, where n is the recorded value and n double dash is the corrected value. If n is less than or equal to 15, then n dash is equal to nr. So it is the most useful where the soil property gets disturbed by boring holes. It is very useful on very soft soil and loose soil where the transportation of heavy equipment required for the SPT and DCPT test may be not be possible. So useful for the determination of bearing capacity at the different depth below the foundation level. So already we have discussed the procedure of the cone penetration test. So if we are talking about the limitations, so first is the split spoon sampler must be in a good condition. Then the cutting shoe must be free from wear and tear. The height of the fall must be 750 mm and any change from this will be affect the n value. So the drill rods used must be in the standard condition. Bend drill rods are not used. Before conducting the test, the bottom of the hole must be clean. So the test is unsuitable for the gravelly soil and soil for having a SPT n value greater than 50. Also in a dense sand, anchorage becomes too cumbersome and expensive, and for such cases dynamic SPT can be used. This test is also unsuitable for the field operation since the value obtained due to the presence of bricks, bats, loose sand, stone and etc. So the next is plate load test. So basically this test is conducted to determine the modulus of subgrade reaction of K value of in situ subgrade of soil and analysis of pavement. So in this test, subgrade soil is subjected to the different compressive stresses through some standard circular and rigid plates. So the corresponding vertical surface deflection of the plate are measured. Magnitude of the surface deflection due to applied compressive stresses depend mainly on the supporting the capacity of the soil below and its stiffness or the load bearing capacity of the soil. So basically the value of subgrade reaction are dependent on the type of the subgrade soil, density, frost action, saturation and intensity or stress applied. So to analyze pavement, we need to find a representative value of modulus of subgrade reaction from the different studies and based on the past experience. It has been found that the most representative value of subgrade reaction can be obtained at a pressure of 7 kg per centimeter square. So apparatus. So the first is the loading plate, a mild steel plate of 75 mm. A mild steel plate of 75 centimeter or equal to 30 inches diameter with the 20 to 40 mm thickness is used as a main loading plate. three other mild steel plates of the same thickness having the diameter of 60.96 centimeter, 45.75 centimeter and 30.48 centimeter are used as a stiffener. The main plate is in the contact with the subgrade soil. The remaining plates are placed over it. Stacking of the plates is useful to avoiding the bending of the main plate during the loading. Next is the loading system. A dead load and a hydraulic or reaction loading system about the 15 tons capacity is used along with the dial gauge fitted with a proving ring or a electronic load measuring system to read up to half percentage of load applied. Then the deflection center, 3 dial gauges or linear variable differential transformers with the suitable electronic device are used to measure deflection with the least count of 0.002 mm. The plate deflection are measured with the reference to the datum or independent support which is not in the deflected area of the soil. The reference datum may be selected at least 4.5 meters away from the loading plate. The deflection sensor are fixed along the periphery of the main loading plate 120 degree apart. Next, another is the other accessories like mild steel scraper blocks, spirit level and other tool. So this is the test setup. So the test site is clean and level so that the main loading plate is full contact with the ground surface. The top layer may be removed up and certain depth if the test is being conducted on loose or natural soil. The main loading plate of 75 centimeter diameter is placed on the level subgrade soil. If the surface of the subgrade is rough or not level, a bed is made out of a sand and plaster of Paris with thickness not more than 25 mm. So after hardening the bed, the main plate is placed over the bed and stiffener plates are placed over it. A suitable loading system such as truck or any other vehicle suitable connected with the reaction beam and hydraulic jack with the load measuring device is arranged as shown in the figure, as you can see in the figure. So 3 dial gauges are placed along the periphery of loading plate and they are fixed to supporter or a datum which is not in the deflected area. So the test procedure. So the step followed to determine the K value useful for the design of light to medium loaded pavements are: first step is the sitting load of 310 kg or a pressure of 70 kg per 70 gram per centimeter square is applied. Then dial gauge of the deflection sensor are set to be 0 reading. Then in addition to sitting load, 3100 kg is applied on the plate and allowed to complete the settlement until the rate of settlement of the plate is not more than 0.005 mm per minute. Then the deflection measurement are to be taken from the 3 deflection sensor which are fitted along the periphery of the main loading plate. Then the load is increased further in increment of 1550 kg to a maximum value of 9410 kg. Then next step is the after every load increment deflection reading are taken. A time gap about to 15 minutes should be maintained in between the successive load increment. For the design of heavy load weight pavement, the K value may be determined based on the separate test procedure. So for details, we you can go with the IS 9214 IS code. So this is the elevation of the pit. So the uses of plate load test is to find out the ultimate bearing capacity of proposed foundation, to determine the settlement of the footing under the given load intensity. Then we can design a shallow footing for any allowable testing. So the limitation, the plate load test being for short duration does not give the ultimate settlement, particularly in case of the cohesive soil. The width of the plate should not be less than 30 centimeter. It is experimentally shown that the load settlement behavior of soil is quantitatively different for the similar width. The foundation settlement is loss stand are usually much larger than the what is predicted by the load test. The settlement influence zone is much larger for the real foundation size than the for the test plate. So advantages, of course, it's a time saving and cost saving method. For this, no vehicle required, one on site evaluation of test result, easy to handle, reliable and precious, and understanding of the foundation behavior. So the further test I will explain in the next lecture. So thank you.